Hey folks, Joseph A. Sabora here, and I'm doing a new movie review this week. It's called A Good Day to Die Hard, the latest sequel of the Die Hard series. Now before we get to that, I always remember watching the Die Hard movies ever since I was a little kid. I grew up watching all the action and all the humor that went around with it, especially when he had to go all the way to the top of the Nakami Tower. That was, of course, one of the tallest buildings that was in Century City, almost right close to where the 20th Century Fox studio was. It was actually amazing. It's kind of scary when you see it because how tall the skyscraper really is, especially that famous iconic line that he always says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." Since then he's been using that line on every single Die Hard movie out there, including this one that just came out. Although I didn't like the fact that they tried to censor that in the fourth sequel though, but on the plus side, I did enjoy the fourth sequel, even though, despite of its problems. But I always enjoy the first movie the most. Then there was the second movie, which it was set in the airport. Holly was taking a flight, and he was trying so hard to get him out of there because of all the terrorists that's attacking. So he tries to save her from all of the bad guys that's taken over the airplane and trying to kill a lot of innocent people. It was totally messed up. Although a lot of people say it was not as good as the first movie, but I still think it was definitely the best as it turned out to be. It was directed by Rennie Harlin, who took over for John Mc Clane, who was the original director of the first movie. But it still had all the action. It was perfect. Then the third movie came out, and it was called Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is almost close enough to be the best sequel out of the series, because once again, they brought back John Mc Clane, who did the first movie, and this time, he gets a partner. It turns out to be Samuel Jackson. He started out hating the guy because he thought he was considered him as a racist. He was also giving him a hard time too because he thought he didn't trust his character because of this. But it did have a good villain in this movie, and it turned out to be the brother of Hans Gruber, who of course the best villain that they had in the first movie, played by Alan Rickman. This time his brother is played by Jeremy Irons, and they're both very good. And it definitely went perfect because I never thought that Hans Gruber actually had a brother, so it's really interesting. But it had a lot of great action right there. After the third sequel came out in 1995, they were hoping that this was going to be the last of the series until 2007, when they decided that there were going to be a fourth sequel to the Die Hard franchise. And that turned out to be Live Free or Die Hard, which received a lot of complaints because of the fact that the rating system has changed from being an R-rated film to a PG-13 rated movie. And it caused a lot of problems because of that. But even for that, I thought the film turned out to be quite good. Not as good as the first three films, as I can tell, but I thought it did have some more action into it. It felt like a summer movie with a bang. It worked pretty well for it. Lee Wiseman took over as director, prior to his work, all the Underworld movies with Kate Beckinsale. And I thought it was decent enough to have all the action into it. I just didn't like the fact that they changed the rating system in that sort of way. And I didn't like the fact that they did a lot of changes in this film, especially his iconic line being almost censored, because it felt like just when he was about to say it, all you hear is a gunshot. It was just ridiculous. But other than that though, it was alright. Timothy Olyphant was okay as the villain. I know they say he was the weakest. Compared to the villain that William Sadler played, Colonel Porter, in the second one. But otherwise, he was okay. He was decent enough. I know Maggie Q was another good choice, and they could have had focused on her too, but she died way too early. I always hate it when that happens too, but I guess it had to be, because there are more bad guys nowadays in the movies. But, however, the fifth movie was just a disappointment. Not as good as I expected it to be. And the sad part is I didn't enjoy it quite as much as a lot of people have. So it was just not something I would expect. Anyway, the movie stars Bruce Willis, Jay Courtney from the TV show Spartacus, which is on Starz, along with Sebastian Koch, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, of course, played Lucy in the fourth sequel, Julia Snyder, Rasha Boswick, and Cole Hauser. The movie begins in Moscow, Russia. A Russian criminal by the name of Komarov, played by Sebastian Koch, has been sentenced to prison and is already being sent to court, along with a CIA operative, Jack McClane, the son of John Mc Clane, who is played by Jay Courtney, has been sent there to kill one of the Russian bad guys, and he's been sent into prison for a while and already being sent to court along with him, until John Mc Clane, played by Bruce Willis, came along to save him along with the criminal to fight all the Russian bad guys that started to blow up using all these nuclear weapons. And their plan was to blow everything up to smithereens. The main reason why Jack McClane was there was because he wanted to help the criminal, where he found out that he had a secret. It turns out that his daughter was missing, and decided to go find the file that might be located inside the building in Chernobyl, which turns out to be with explosives. Well, I was sort of disappointed in this movie from the moment I saw the film for myself. I didn't like the fact that they made Jack McClane look really dead serious and very unlikable. It was just so totally unnecessary. It didn't work for me at all because it looked to me like he was a complete jerk throughout the entire film, and it just didn't work for me. And it's also sad too to see Bruce Willis phoning in his performance as John Mc Clane, because the sad part is he's probably the only good thing about the movie, despite of its problems that it's been going through. I mean, yes, he had to keep on saying, "I'm on vacation," all the time, which is really stupid because it's kind of like the movie City Slickers when Billy Crystal's characters say that line while he was hanging on the rope of a of a fast horse going around. It just doesn't work in a Die Hard movie whatsoever. That was really stupid. And there are plenty of stupid scenes that's been going around lately. I hated the villain that they had in this movie. It was one of the lamest villains they ever had. He eventually started coming up with these stupid catchphrases all the way around. Like something like, "My grandma knows how to do this." "Oh, you sound like something out of 1986. This guy's a fucking dip. He just couldn't come up with better phrases than that. Probably the worst acting I've ever heard from that actor. The girl wasn't anything better either. I mean, yes, despite the fact that they use her as a sex object or something like that, it just doesn't work for me at all. I didn't buy the whole daughter thing. It was ridiculous. And I didn't like the fact that the Russian criminal turned out to be... I mean, at first I was expecting him to be good, but then it turned out that he was really bad at the end. It was just totally ridiculous. And I definitely did not buy the whole father and son thing between John and Jack. It was just... It just totally ruined the movie for me. The action scenes were very long too. That long car chase scene that went throughout the entire film, right in the middle of it actually, was really stupid. It felt like it was a waste of time. There was a lot of broken glass all the way around. You know, all these explosions, big explosions too. You know, too many of the stuff with the helicopter that's been almost recycled from most of the previous sequels, and all of this is just not original whatsoever. Yeah, it was just too much. I can even tell Bruce Willis didn't even want to be in this movie once I saw it, so I can tell that this was going to be a stinker anyway. And it's no surprise because this movie was directed by John Moore, who gave us Max Payne, and Behind Enemy Lines, the 2001 movie with Owen Wilson and Gene Hackman, which turns out to be a ripoff of Bat 21. Kind of stupid. Yeah, since then he's been making bad movies ever since, along with the screenwriter Skip Woods. Yeah, terrible screenwriter. So it's no doubt that this is definitely the worst of the Die Hard series. And the sad part is, I wish this movie had gone any longer, or perhaps any shorter, because, I mean, this movie was totally unwatchable. I just didn't care for it at all. And the sad part is, I think the fourth movie was a lot better than this. It really is. I mean, it's kind of a shame that Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who played Lucy in the fourth one, sad to say, only gets a small role in this movie. So that was not enough. That was a shame. I heard that the extended cut actually cuts her scene in that movie, and that was totally unnecessary. It's just, it was a lousy sequel. I couldn't believe how bad it was. I can see where a lot of people are disappointed in this. I'll give them credit though, at least they managed to give it an R rating, but that didn't help much. I say it's definitely the worst. So anyway, I give A Good Day to Die Hard 1.5 stars. I'm Joseph A. Sabora, and I'll see you later. Bye.